So my presentation is the next billionaires will build their business on supply chain, safety protocols, and robotic automation. So there's a lot of keywords there. One, of course, I'd like to highlight yung word na billionaire. So not really trying to exaggerate. And later on, I'll try to expound more of it. I truly believe that kasi for so long when my generation grew up, everybody was trying to achieve the millionaire status. But of course, with the current GDP of all the countries and the how fast the yung mga deployment ng technologies, how it's happening at a very quick pace. Before in the past, we used to have like movies in the US, and then it would take 2 or 3 months before it basically shows in the Philippines. But right now, everything is happening at a very fast pace. And basically also the same for financial and economic growth. For businesses and individually. And right now, if you look at the backdrop of what's happening right now for the COVID-19, and I think everybody realizes that right now, the entire supply chain is disrupted. And we've been trying to, so basically I'm wearing 2 hats every day. One is we're trying to make the business survive in our own limited ways, in our own limited capabilities. But at the same time, we're also exploring a lot of new ideas and trying to reinvent and re-engineer the future. So basically, if the person who will be the fastest to re-engineer and rebuild the future, basically will get the stake of the claim, so to speak. Like sila yung first that would mark the territory of different industries that would be re-engineered and rebuilt from the ashes of like the COVID-19 Holocaust. And supply chain, of course, everybody's feeling that right now. Safety protocols, I don't think there would be, safety protocol would be the norm. Instead of having security guards, having handheld guns as part of the business security, right now I think the number one security would be safety protocol, because right now just getting one infected would automatically collapse 1,000 of people working from let's say a closed environment. And last but not the least, of course, I'm a true believer of robotic RPA, robotic automation and technology, and definitely they will be in the front line of doing majority of the work as we know right now. Okay? So title pa lang medyo mahaba na. I'm just trying to build context. Not to initiate fear, pero of course these are the numbers right now. I just picked that up like a few hours ago. So that's the total distribution of COVID cases all over the world. 1.3 confirmed, but the true cases, of course, it might be times 5, times 10. We're not really sure. So, of course, just to set the backdrop for the next 5 years, social distancing will be the norm. So, how would people go to work? And of course, the cost of going to work would be higher compared to, operating offices. And the cost of going to work plus the safety and everything, that will all be part of the picture. So 3 billion workforce will be displaced. So that's the current workforce that are now being displaced, disrupted. Of course, supply chain disrupted. We all know that already. And life will always be constantly threatened. And those are actually the big pictures that we should be looking at. When we will be putting automation, robotic automation, rebuilding businesses, re-engineering businesses, those should be the very foundation of setting businesses. It's either you set it for other clients or you set it for the safety of your own business environment. So when will things go back to normal? So I'm not an expert on this one. It's just my rough estimate. Just my own estimate, because people are thinking 2 weeks and then everything will go back to normal. So, just to put what they call this, just a rough number on the board, 1 year for a clinical trial. So I think a lot of vaccines are in the works, but of course they have to test it out before they spend billions and trillions to distribute that all over the world. They have to test it properly. 1 year for worldwide distribution, and definitely the first countries that would benefit from these ones are the first world rich countries. Third, these are just estimate. Don't quote me on this. Don't screenshot it. 1 year for over-the-counter distribution. Like you can just go over the counter, buy it from a normal pharmacy, and you can have you can have the vaccine ready. And then 1 year to reach the farthest corner of a third world country. Mukhang that's us. The farthest corner that's available to any normal human being. And last but not the least, 1 year for the standard vaccination, like we all have, like the flu shots we get every year, or the standard vaccination for every newborn baby. So more or less, it's just a rough estimate. So people are thinking 2 weeks, and then everything will go back to normal. And that would be close to impossible, because to begin with, everything started with just one person. And even though after 14 weeks, I don't think the entire world will go back to just one person. So, right now, it's all about moving forward and, looking at the entire parameters, the entire situation, the new board game, the new rules, and then basically how we play it from there. Right now, the simplest problems of the past are now the most complex. So now to align it to businesses and supply chains, businesses right now are trying to answer or address these problems. So businesses are trying to look for their customers, and at the same time, customers are trying to look for businesses. So the businesses are asking, where are my employees? Of course, they're scattered. They went home, they went to the provinces, and most of them doesn't have connectivity right now. Where are my customers? So before, they used to drop by and easily buy those products. And right now, where are my partners? Where are my logistic partners? Where are my normal suppliers? Where are the people who used to drop this simple stuff like bond paper at my doorsteps? And right now, those are like now non-existent. And for the customers, where are my products? So before, they can buy it at this normal convenience store in the mall, but most of big percentage of the businesses right now have, brick and mortar shops, physical stores are almost entirely closed. How will I get it? So even if they can make a phone call, they have personal relationship, it's still hard to move products. Last but not the least, how do I pay? So those are the simple problems of the past, but now are very, very complex. A lot of businesses will learn this the hard way. It's now a safety first economy. So just to give you an idea, of course, it's like how to put it in the right analogy. People would be trying to rebuild their businesses right away. Of course, one would be financial trouble. Number two, because of hunger. And number three, because of that's basically the human instinct to move forward. But the problem is, again, going back to the very problem, one person that gets infected with COVID-19 will automatically stop the entire thousands of people that's operating the business. So if you think about it, it's not anymore moving forward just by approaching it with technology and the workforce and business strategy and innovation. It will be a safety first economy. Whoever can set up the 100% absolute safety environment in a workplace, basically that would be the first businesses that can come out of the ashes of this COVID-19 Holocaust. So a few points here. Office workers now, not only the people working in hospitals, but office workers now, in the next coming months will be considered frontliners. They're considered frontliners once you step out of the door to work, or you are asked by your employer to step out of your house to work. The new classification or future class, just my thoughts, the future classification of frontliner would be people leaving their houses for work or to support the business or to operate their businesses. It will be a game of safety and probability. definitely probability should be 100%. It should be 99.9%. So that will always be part of the, I mean, equation or protocols whenever people try to do this and that in their day-to-day business processes. And of course, this is what we're trying to adopt now. We have the NOAA project, or Noah's Ark mentality, wherein, I mean, it's a little bit extreme now, but if you look down the road, it's one of the most, safest, and it doesn't look normal now because we're still trying to relive the past. But moving forward, it's all about trying to make everybody 100%, 101% safe. So the Noah's Ark mentality is basically, this is just an idea that we are strategizing now. That if ever in the BPO, we would, I mean, after the lockdown, we would, it's not encourage, it's basically mandate, like to place people inside office spaces, provide them all the food and shelter, and make them stay there for 3 months. Provide them all the necessities. And if you think about it, we can't also overload the offices because basically half of it, or maybe majority of it, will have to be committed for them to just have a decent living space inside the office. And to close that entire office space, so even before they go there, I mean, so they'll stay there for 3 months, leave the office space for, let's say, 2 weeks or 1 month to go back to their families. And whenever they needed to go back, or whenever they want to go back to work again, it would be another 14 days to quarantine them before they head back to office. So if you think about it, the entire logistics of it is really complicated. And I think those are the only things that I can think of really minimizing the probability and ensuring the safety of everyone. So going back, it's a game of safety and probability. It's basically how to outthink the physics of the coronavirus. And last but not the least, of course, this is one of the major cost driver that we're also looking at. PPE costs for our field workers. We have field workers, and hazard pay for every person that would be required to step out of their households. Disruption is now a buzzword of the past. It's not all about. It is now all about rebuilding. Sorry about that. So disruption is now a buzzword of the past. So for being in the tech space for so long, we've constantly heard the word disruption, this and that. And right now, there's nothing to disrupt anymore. Buzzword for the days, weeks, and months to come is all about rebuilding, because basically there's nothing to disrupt. It's like there's an atomic bomb that has been, exploded all over the world, not in just one city. So the questions to ask now are, how do I build my workforce? How do I reach my customers? How to find tech partners, and how to find logistic innovators. So not just logistic partners, but innovators. Because going back to the original premise, if safety is a concern, we have to use a lot of technology, strategy, and efficiency to basically create a new logistics system that would ensure everybody's safety. All forms of businesses and industries now are disrupted. So, I mean, no need for me to really highlight it here, but not moving. And of course, since no transportation is, transportation is not moving, fuel market is crumbling. Basically, the rollback is just, left and right. Labor market is distorted. No one knows what will be their function when they come back. CBDs are like ghost towns. The central business districts, financial districts are like ghost towns now. And post-dated payments, I think a lot of people can relate. Halted post-dated payments. So I mean, everybody just put everything on freeze, and they're trying to renegotiate, trying to establish communication first before they put everything on automatic mode. The old economy was built on, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I mean, we've had a lot of experiences with this. more so with our clients, the banks, a lot of them are, fintech companies are calling them dinosaurs, and due to for a good reason. Innovation is very little when it comes to the, giant banking industries. And right now, everybody's forced to change. Encoders are like has been existing for so long because no one wants to think out of the box. Even though encoding is very easy on the automation and RPA space, but they don't. But the thinking part is the hardest part for them, and the to put it in Tagalog, the utos part is the easiest part. So just hire someone, give them that work and pay that person, and that's it. So basically, it's very simple for them to do things the old-fashioned way. Manual and legacy systems are still existing because of that mentality. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Human labor is still very cheap in the Philippines. That's why automation is having a hard time keeping up because, not really keeping up, but of course, most of the high level managers are still in the same era that grew up out of manual and legacy systems. And last but not the least, no one's complaining. So why change it? So most of the customers are used to it. Fall in line outside of the banks. Fall in line inside and outside of the banks. ATMs have very long lines. Delivery systems are taking quite some time to get to be delivered. So basically, no one's complaining. So why change it? So that's basically the wrong mindset right now. Of the past, and it can be really changed by the current situation moving forward. Digital transformation is not anymore a buzzword. It's a way of life. So everybody's been talking about digital transformation, this and that, but the main reason the transition or the transformation is not really happening that fast because if let's say 10% or 20% of the economy is adapting digital transformation and the other half is still on manual and legacy systems, you have to have two types of cost, the manual and the automation and the development and still the old-fashioned way. So basically it's having a hard time or it loses steam and motivation for the innovators to really move from the manual to a fully digital business or processes. And right now we are, of course, going back to coronavirus, and it's also the joke that's going around. Coronavirus is truly the CTO right now that is transforming everyone to basically a digital business or digital economy. So what would happen moving forward? Online branding would be very key. Before, no one's, some of the old generation that's still running successful businesses now are still looking at Facebook as like a platform for kids, where in fact Facebook is already the platform for old people and TikTok is the new platform for kids. So online branding would be critical. 24/7 presence, because everyone is expecting that when you're into online transactions. End-to-end digital experience. So customers would be starting their digital experience through their mobile phones and end on their mobile phones as well. Like someone would make a call or they would receive a notification that the delivery is already there without them physically leaving their house. So that is basically the where the most of people are trying to concentrate now. Transactions will be 100% logged and documented finally. So if there's a lot of legacy systems, definitely there's a lot of undocumented transactions. And last but not the least, the one I mentioned a while ago, fulfillment without leaving homes. Our greatest threat is also our greatest opportunity. So if you look at the current problem right now, and most of the, all of us are, I think all of the viewers right now are Filipinos. The entire world has the same problem. So if you think about it, any problem that you're trying to solve now, you can also have the same mindset that it can also be marketed, sold, or pitched anywhere outside of the Philippines, because basically we all share the same problems. All rules are being rewritten, and this is one of my favorite things that's happening right now. Even for this type of Zoom webinar, In the past, this is basically people would want to have a physical interaction and do it this type of way. But right now, we are talking with our clients, partners, and possible or building relationships with other clients. Basically, people are following a no rules approach in terms of what can be set up. Disruption now is not in niches. So before, disruption in the past is let's disrupt the no soap industry. Let's disrupt the mailing industry. Let's disrupt the transportation, tourism, the hotel. So disruptions are being done in the past in niches, but right now disruptions are being done by industry. So basically, the opportunity is really really big. Everyone, and the good thing about right now, I mean, with the current situation, everyone is open for anything, even for wild ideas. And we are truly feeling that whenever we are talking with new partners and new clients. And one solution to rule them all. So to explain that, going back, if any one of you or who's really an innovator right now in your own space, if you can think of a solution on our current situation, if you think about it, whatever you can think of, or if you have a very good product or service that can address the current crisis that we are all facing, there's a very big possibility that same solution, service, product can also be marketed anywhere all over the world, because for the last 101 years, no one, I mean, if there's a recession in one country, there's no recession in another country. If there's a typhoon in the Philippines, not necessarily, I mean, if there's a typhoon in one part of the Philippines, there's no typhoon in another part of the country. So whatever is happening in one part of the world, the other countries wouldn't be able to relate on whatever we are experiencing. But if you think about it right now, whatever we are trying to address might also be the same solution for other people, other companies in another part of the world. So one solution might be the key to rule them all. So basically that's the end of my presentation slides.